The downfall of King Harris didn't happen overnight, it was a storm building for years. Every headline, every outburst, every viral clip was like fuel tossed onto a growing fire. And while many saw the signs, nobody expected the crash to come this fast or this hard. King has always carried himself with a chip on his shoulder, determined to prove he was more than just T.I.'s son. That hunger, though, quickly turned into arrogance. Instead of carving his own lane, he started lashing out online, flexing money, bragging about his lifestyle, and mocking anyone who dared criticize him. To some, it looked like confidence. To others, it was insecurity dressed up in designer clothes. But the internet doesn't forgive. Each stunt brought more eyes, more attention, and eventually, more haters. The louder King became, the more people waited for him to slip. And when he finally did, when the prison fight video surfaced, it was like blood in the water. The trolls swarmed, the blogs exploded, and suddenly King Harris wasn't trending for his music or his personality. He was trending for getting beaten down in the very world he once glorified. The irony is sharp. For years, King projected himself as someone untouchable, built for chaos, immune to consequence. Yet one night behind bars stripped that all away. His bruises weren't just physical, they were symbolic, proof that the image he sold online couldn't survive in reality. And maybe that's why the internet can't stop talking about it. It's not just a fight, it's a fall from grace. The story of a young man who thought fame and family legacy made him invincible, only to discover the hard way that respect isn't inherited, it's earned. But this was only the beginning. Because the moment King's mask cracked, the floodgates opened, and what came next would shake not just him, but everyone tied to his name. Before the chaos spilled into headlines, King Harris thrived on building a persona. He wasn't shy, he wasn't subtle, he was loud, unfiltered, and determined to dominate attention. Live streams showed him flashing stacks of cash, laughing at critics, and acting like the internet was his personal throne room. But the mask he wore online didn't prepare him for the reality of prison. In prison, there are no filters, no staged performances, no fans hitting like from the safety of their phones. It's a place where respect isn't given, it's tested. And for King, who strutted in with the same bravado he showed on Instagram, the welcome was brutal. Witnesses say the attack he suffered wasn't random. It was deliberate, calculated, meant to break him down in front of everyone. In that world, posturing is a weakness, and his pride painted a target on his back. The aftermath online has been nothing short of savage. Clips of the fight spread like wildfire, captioned with comments such as "he thought he was tough until reality hit." Former supporters, the same people who once cheered his antics, turned on him instantly. Now the internet isn't laughing with him, it's laughing at him. And this is where the sting cuts deepest, the hypocrisy exposed. King built his brand on mocking 9-to-5 workers, sneering at people he called average, insisting he was cut from a different cloth. Yet when real pressure hit, he folded in front of millions. His arrogance backfired, turning him into the very thing he mocked: vulnerable, exposed, and powerless. For T.I., the pain is twofold. As a father, he warned King about this path, knowing exactly where it could lead. As a public figure, he's now forced to watch his son's downfall play out across the same platforms that once celebrated their family. It's a nightmare no parent wants, watching the prophecy you tried to prevent unfold in front of the entire world. But the question now isn't just about one fight. It's about whether King learns from humiliation, or if this was only the first crack in a much bigger collapse. King's bruises may heal with time, but the internet has ensured his reputation won't recover so quickly. In today's digital world, one embarrassing clip can overshadow years of effort. And for King, the timing couldn't be worse. Just before all this, he was talking big, about new music, about proving himself as an artist, about finally stepping out of his father's shadow. Instead of applause, what he got was ridicule. The fight footage turned into a viral spectacle almost overnight. TikTok edits, reaction videos, memes, it was everywhere. What should have been his moment to launch a career instead became a moment that defined him as reckless and out of his depth. In the court of public opinion, King didn't just lose a fight, he lost control of his story. That loss of control is devastating for someone who thrives on image. Every attempt he makes now will be filtered through the lens of this scandal. If he goes live again, viewers will flood the comments with jokes. If he drops a track, critics will tear into his lyrics, pointing out the gap between his tough talk and his real-life struggles. No matter what he does, the shadow of humiliation looms. Even worse, the industry is starting to notice. Whispers suggest that producers and labels are hesitant to invest. Why put money into someone whose name is linked more to controversy than talent? Nobody wants to gamble on a reputation already circling the drain. Fans, meanwhile, are divided. Some insist King deserves grace, that he's just young and needs time to grow. Others are harsher, saying his privilege gave him every chance to succeed and he wasted it. And while the debate rages, one truth is clear: infamy has replaced fame. King always wanted to stand out, but not like this. Now he's faced with the impossible task of trying to reinvent himself while the world continues to replay his lowest moment. And unless he finds a way to change the narrative, he risks being remembered not for what he creates, but for what destroyed him. What makes King's fall hit so hard is how it splits open a family story most people assumed was bulletproof. T.I. fought his way out of struggle and built a reputation as someone who could survive the streets and then leave them behind. Tiny, the mother, has been the family's quiet anchor, protecting the children, smoothing the chaos, and trying to keep normalcy in a life the public only sees in flashes. Together they sold a picture of success that looked unshakable. Now that image is cracking. Inside the home, sources say frustration turned into worry. T.I., who warned King about the dangers of flaunting a risky image, now watches a prediction play out in the worst way. Tiny, who once defended her son fiercely, is reported sleepless, replaying the leaked clips and wondering what could have changed the outcome. Embarrassment is one thing, being judged worldwide is another. Truly, public reaction has been brutal. Feeds that once amplified the Harris name are weaponized against it. Comment sections erupt with lines like failed father or spoiled kid, and every new post feels like salt in an open wound. Even longtime allies are hesitant. Partnering with a scandal can be costly. The family brand becomes exposed not only financially but morally, as people debate whether privilege blinded them to consequences. Still, family ties run deep and complicated. Blood doesn't allow simple exits. The Harises face an impossible choice: defend a son while trying to repair an image that's bleeding. Rebuilding requires humility, long-term strategy, and for once, silence, things hard to muster amid a viral crisis. And the more the family moves to shield him, the easier it becomes for critics to say they enabled his behavior. So the deeper question is not only whether King will recover, it's whether the family that built a comeback narrative can survive a fall of their own. Will they rally and help him rebuild, proving resilience is real? Or will this become the crack that grows until the entire legacy fractures? Either outcome will be watched, debated, and judged by millions who once cheered them on publicly. The tension between King and his parents isn't just another celebrity spat. It's something that feels raw, almost universal. Anyone who's ever clashed with family over choices, pride, or independence can recognize the storm brewing here. The difference is that most of us don't have our family drama dissected by millions in real time. For King, every outburst, every defiant look, every leaked clip becomes not just a private rebellion but a public performance, and that makes the consequences much heavier. What's fascinating is how this struggle mirrors a generational divide. T.I. and Tiny came up in a world where respect was earned through survival, discipline, and carefully managed reputation. King, however, was born into comfort, luxury, and instant access to fame. What his parents see as reckless, he sees as self-expression. To him, proving toughness isn't about escaping danger but about rejecting the idea that money defines him. And yet, ironically, it's money, and the platform his family name gave him, that allowed his antics to be broadcast on such a massive scale. This is where the narrative shifts from personal to cultural. The Harris saga touches on broader themes of parenting in the spotlight, privilege versus identity, and the pressure on children of celebrities to carve out their own names. Some people view King as a spoiled kid squandering opportunity, while others see a young man desperate to step out from his father's shadow, even if it means embracing chaos. The truth, as always, probably lies somewhere in between. But here's the catch: the internet rarely allows nuance. Online, King is either villain or victim, a brat or a misunderstood youth. And once that narrative takes hold, it's nearly impossible to shake. For T.I. and Tiny, this means their parenting is on trial just as much as King's decisions are. The family finds itself in a tug-of-war, not only with each other but with the millions of strangers holding opinions about what kind of parents they are. In the end, King's rebellion isn't just about him. It's become a reflection of what happens when family, fame, and identity collide on a stage where everyone is watching, and no one ever forgets. When you peel back the layers of King's story, what you find isn't just a rebellious son, it's the blueprint of how fame magnifies family struggles. Most households deal with teenage defiance in private. There might be arguments, slammed doors, maybe even embarrassing moments that live only in family memory. But for the Harises, there's no such luxury. Their home has been a stage since long before King was even born. Reality shows, social media, music, it's all blended into a brand. And now, King's behavior is rewriting that brand in real time. Consider the irony. T.I. spent years shaping himself into a figure of respect, someone who walked away from a troubled past to become a successful mogul. Tiny built a reputation as the glue holding everything together, balancing career and motherhood under constant scrutiny. Their empire was crafted carefully, brick by brick, to prove that success could silence doubt. Yet King, intentionally or not, is chipping away at those very foundations. To critics, it looks like a contradiction. Parents who rose above their circumstances but couldn't steer their own child in the same direction. This isn't just damaging reputationally, it's emotional. Sources close to the family have described the heartbreak Tiny feels watching her son spiral publicly, while T.I.'s frustration reportedly simmers at the idea that all his lessons fell on deaf ears. Imagine dedicating your life to building something solid only to feel it slipping through your fingers because of the choices of your child. It's a nightmare no amount of fame or money can soften. And yet, there's another side to it. King's defiance might be reckless, but it's also his way of demanding individuality in a family where everything has been branded and packaged. He's trying to prove he isn't just T.I. and Tiny's son. The tragedy is that, in doing so, he's reinforcing exactly what people accuse him of, leveraging the family name while tarnishing it at the same time. That's what makes the saga so compelling. It isn't just about rebellion, or fame, or mistakes. It's about a family locked in a spotlight they can't escape, watching their private battles turn into public judgment, and realizing the world won't ever stop watching. As the dust begins to settle, the bigger picture comes into focus. King Harris isn't just fighting for himself, he's fighting against the perception of his entire family. Every clip, every meme, every hashtag is shaping a story that stretches far beyond prison walls. It's no longer just about a son making bad choices. It's about a dynasty under pressure, a legacy that could crumble if the public narrative keeps spinning unchecked. The stakes have never been higher. The online frenzy has created a digital courtroom where everyone is a judge. Fans debate whether King deserves sympathy or scorn. Some argue he's the victim of a setup, others insist he brought it on himself. Meanwhile, the viral footage doesn't just entertain, it educates, warns, and punishes, sending a message that privilege is never enough to shield anyone from consequence. And that scrutiny doesn't stop with King. T.I.'s decades-long reputation as a survivor, a mentor, and a father is now being weighed against every misstep his son has taken. It's a reminder that in celebrity families, mistakes aren't isolated, they ripple. Behind the scenes, the Harrises are reportedly strategizing. Lawyers, advisors, and confidants are working to contain the fallout while figuring out how to salvage both King's future and the family brand. There's no simple fix. Every public statement, every Instagram post, every reaction risks amplifying the scandal further. And yet, despite the chaos, one thing is undeniable. The family remains united in ways the public may never fully see. Blood ties and loyalty are testing their limits, but they're refusing to abandon King. This makes the story both cautionary and captivating. It highlights the price of rebellion, the cost of fame, and the fragility of reputation, even for those born into it. King's choices, reckless as they may seem, expose the pressure cooker environment that comes with growing up in the spotlight. The public watches, but they don't always understand the full complexity, the emotional stakes, or the quiet battles that rage behind closed doors. Ultimately, this saga is far from over. Every day brings new leaks, fresh theories, and deeper speculation. King Harris may emerge from this crisis stronger, humbled, or forever changed. But one truth remains: the Harris family, their legacy, and the story of King Harris are now permanently entwined with a cautionary tale about power, fame, and consequences that no one can ignore.